Welcome back. A new survey out gives us an idea regarding the public's attitude toward the Los Angeles Police Department. The survey, which took place in September and October, 1,750 respondents, is the work of the Center for the Study of Los Angeles at Loyola Marymount University. Fernando Guerra is the executive director. So there was support for the police department's mission, but a big difference by community as to how that mission is being carried out. Do I have that right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the major findings we have is that there's a vast distinction between different neighborhoods, different bureaus, and different ethnic groups in terms of how they view LAPD. You basically have two worlds, one where Anglos and Asians have very positive views of LAPD, and another where African Americans and Latinos are much more skeptical.
But your survey says 71% say they want the police to carry on the role of what's on the car, that is to protect and to serve.
Yes, so you see that there is a support, even in the African-American communities and Latino communities, that they want law enforcement and that they view the role of LAPD in its traditional law enforcement, service, and protect. They do believe that, and they just as much as Anglos and Asian Americans and throughout all of Los Angeles, but they differ in terms of how it's implemented.
So 63% said that the LAPD is serving and protecting my neighborhood. 25% said police see them as a threat, and that's a majority of African-American respondents. And then there's 62% who want to redirect some money to local social programs.
We asked the question, the whole defund the police. We wanted to ask about that question, but we also asked if, you would want to just reform it or if you want to dismantle it. And there were 37% of the Angelenos in general who said they would be willing to dismantle the police. Now, what does that mean in its place? We didn't really get into that, but we wanted to see where people were with this police department, the way it is structured, the way it is deployed, the way it behaves. And clearly, Angelenos want to see a change.
82% said they wanted an unarmed model of crisis response.
There is a clear sense amongst Angelenos that LAPD has historically overused force, including in these past protests that just happened. And they are of one mind here that they would like to see the use of force reduced throughout the city.
Only 48% of those surveyed believe the city is going in the right direction. That's historically low, but with COVID and the economy, not a surprise.
Yes, I mean, one of the key things, and I've been doing polling and surveying of Los Angeles for over 20 to 30 years. This is one of the questions we always ask to gauge the optimism of Angelenos, and this is one of the lowest numbers we've seen in a long time. Of course, it's also happening nationally and statewide by surveys that we've seen, and you've seen a drop. We suspect that it really influences the public opinion on all kinds of other issues, how optimistic Angelenos are.
Out of curiosity, did you eliminate anyone who had a connection to police or the LAPD?
No, just the opposite. One of our questions was, in fact, if you or anyone in your household was a member of any type of law enforcement. And what was interesting, we expected those that answered in that manner that they would differ greatly. But in fact, they did not. They tended to look at LAPD very similar to the rest of Angelenos. That was one of the most interesting findings that we had.
What have you learned from all this?
Well, my conclusion is a couple of things. Number one, there are tremendous racial differences in the perceptions and attitudes toward LAPD. Number two, there's 4 pillars of support in terms of LAPD. Angelenos still want a police department, and they still want to have service and protection. Number 3, though, they want it reimagined. They want it to be different. They want it to be deployed in a different manner. And I think those were the main takeaways that we got from this survey and listening and giving voice to the people of Los Angeles.
So this is designed to help policymakers, that kind of group?
Absolutely, but it's not in particular. What we want this data to serve is that these decisions like budgets, the size of the police force, how law enforcement is implemented, this is just one aspect of that dashboard. And this clearly supports the idea of community policing. It supports the idea that we need to reimagine the police department. Absolutely. Angelenos throughout the city want a new reimagined police department.
How can people access the survey?
It is on our website, lmu.edu/studyla there, and many of our other studies are also there that we track in terms of LA attitudes. And we'll be releasing another survey sometime in March in general about the city and county of Los Angeles, and probably another study about the police about a year from now.
Fernando Guerra of Loyola Marymount University and the Center for the Study of the City of LA. Thanks for taking the time.
Yes, Happy New Year to all.